Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to How to Father. We're still at season 2. We just passed the midway point here, and I want to thank everyone for listening to the last episode with Mr. Joseph Wright. Congratulations to his daughters. They are in the semifinals of the state championship, playing La Cueva. I think it's today. I think it's today. So good luck to the Lady Matadors out there. Also want to do a big shout out to Alcrete Magazine for doing a little spotlight on How to Father podcast in their Storyteller edition for this March of 2025. So it's out on shelves now. Thank you so very much for reaching out. So that was a pretty cool little treat there and everything else. But furthermore, we got the famous, the award-winning, look at this great place, distiller here in Albuquerque, Mr. Frank Holloway. How's it going, sir?
Going fantastic. Thank you for having me on.
You are welcome. We were just talking about, it's been about 8 years since we actually kind of sat down and hung out. We've run into each other a bunch. We see each other at Isotopes or United or out and about and stuff like that, and of course on social media. But it's been a while since we were there at the Red Door, or Red Door, excuse me. There is a bar called the Red Door in Salt Lake that I went to, but Red Door Brewery here in Albuquerque doing the beard and mustache competition for Mish and Barbara's Knock.
Yeah, so shout out again, Michelle. Love you. She's been cutting my hair for almost 20 years, so thank you so much, Michelle.
Yeah, she's great. And that the awesome thing, starting that beard and mustache competition, I think it opened up a lot of different avenues for different people doing that. And how she started up, we had a food drive, a can drive. I think we did it for 3 or 4 years. We donated, tons of dried food to Roadrunner Food Bank, to a lot of different food banks in Albuquerque. And then it was, I think Paws and Stripes was one of the big ones that we donated to. They did a little documentary about it, and that kind of emphasized the giving back that she was doing with the beard and mustache competition. So it was a great time.
Yeah, no, everybody had a blast, and it's always kind of good to have things for a good cause. I'm one of the people, I want to have fun and pretend like I'm doing it for something good. So it makes me feel good while I'm having fun.
Exactly. And that's what life should be. Yeah. Hey, have fun, but make sure you're doing it for something. Do it for something good. And if you have the ability, even if it's not monetary, just donating time to help someone out or help a community out or help anything like that. Always do that. So Michelle, Mish, good job on starting that up, because really the beard and mustache, community here in Albuquerque kind of kicked off from that, at least from what I saw.
Oh, was it? I didn't realize that. I thought you guys are pretty strong.
They were pretty strong because people had the good facial hair, but there was never like a collective group, right? There's started like a mustache group. And then there was the Bearded Villains, and they started doing their charity stuff. And that was already I think a worldwide or nationwide kind of like group where a bunch of those bearded guys got together. But I think when she brought this group together, it's like, oh, and then these guys are like, wait, we should be able to do more with our beards and mustaches. And then we started seeing competitions pop up at the Celtic Fest and different other breweries. And it was always promoting some kind of charity, which was awesome. But honestly, me being in the community about it, it was just like, oh, nice beard, nice mustache. And then when that started happening, because it was small at first, and then it got pretty big. The last one we did, that was at Uptown Funk.
I was there. I was there.
That one was huge. That one was a really good turnout. The whole place was packed out, and I think people started realizing that we could do this more so. So me, shout out to you for jumpstarting the beard and mustaches. But speaking of jumpstarting things, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? What do you do? And then we'll, of course, get into the fatherhood stuff and go from there.
Well, it all started on a dark and stormy night. So I'm one of those true New Mexican boys. My family has been here since, I think my mom tracked her back to the 1800s.
Oh, wow.
17 or 1800s, back when it was Mexico. Mexico.
Yeah.
So my whole family's around here. I have the kind of family where my grandpa lives on the corner. My aunt lives next to him. My cousin lives next to him. So it's great. Everybody's all in each other's business, but I actually wouldn't have it any other way. It's great having family. And so I was born in Belen, pretty much raised my whole life in Albuquerque, Los Lunas, Belen, and been in the liquor industry. And after starting Red Door, helped start Uptown Funk, now doing this distillery. So fortunately, Hollow Spirits has been around for over 6 years.
Yeah.
We've been fortunate. We've won best distillery multiple times, best distiller, best vodka, rum, gin. Fortunately for us,
I called the last best of the city.
Yeah.
And it was like hollow spirits, hollow spirits, hollow spirits, boom, boom, boom. I mean, you guys are it, and it tastes good. Like I get the bottles, it tastes good.
Yeah, well, I'm always kind of one of those people, and maybe it was my dad and my mom, where they're, if you're going to do anything, try to do it right.
Exactly.
So we've always kind of prided ourselves in the quality and with food, with drinks, even with the space here, like
Exactly.
not just throwing stuff together and like, okay, we'll see, but like trying to play a part and make it good,
Yeah.
and then also improving, even if it's not good, seeing where you could improve.
Exactly. And that's something that's important in life, right? With if you have a business or you work a job or you whatever the case is, I always think about this. We're big sports fans, and we'll talk more about that. We won't go into 2012 Super Bowl. I promise we won't talk about that. Go.
Hey man,
But we
damn Harbaugh brothers. Why we got to bring that back?
that was my only time I put that in there. But if you're starting something or doing something, always seek to be better. As much as we heckle and we're mad because the player dropped the ball or didn't do this or doing that, I'm sitting there like there's times where I'm working. I'm like, I wonder if I had like my fans watching me work, how they'll be like, "Boo, what are you doing? Get off Instagram!" Like all these things. That's like, okay, the little things we do to change in our life to make things better can make a big improvement. And as much as we, oh man, if our punter could punt it 5 yards further, or if our quarterback could throw it a little bit further. Like we critique so many people if we don't look at ourselves and even our small day-to-day work stuff or family stuff or whatever the case is, then that's where I wonder how we would feel when people are looking at us in the stands like, hey, you need to do X, you need to do Y, you need to do Z better. You're like, oh, shoot, well, at least I'm here. And it doesn't seem like you being in the liquor space, you're like, I just want to be a part of it. No, I want to be it.
Yeah.
You're top two, not two type of thing, right?
Yeah.
And that's at least from afar. Again, it's been 8 years since we've seen each other, and I don't even think you had a baby then, did you?
No. Penelope's now, well, she's about to turn 8, but it might actually be longer than 8 years ago. It's probably 10 years ago, because I was at Red Door, I think 10 years ago.
Yeah,
and Penelope's
10
now.
And then every year we did the thing because my youngest, you know what? It has to be because my youngest is 8.
Yeah.
We did that they did a documentary about my mustache and winning American Mustache of the Year on the last one at Uptown Funk, and she was pregnant with him.
Okay.
So at least the last one, it was about 9 years ago, because that was in the summertime. So yeah, about a little 8.5 years ago, because he was born in September.
Yeah.
And so of 2016. And so, yeah, so it had been, 9 years ago about.
Yeah,
a little bit
no baby yet. Actually, the crazy part about Penelope is she's about to be 8 and Hollow Spirits is 6, but we've really started sitting down and actually thinking about everything about 8 years ago.
Okay.
So her life kind of coincides with Hollow Spirits. The day we signed the lease for Hollow Spirits, I think she was 2 months old. So it's crazy because you see the pictures. We actually just had an event the other day and we did a slide of everything, and you can see the growth of Penelope along with Hollow Spirits. So it kind of coincided together.
That's something that is, and as a new father, brand new father, jumping into a new venture. I mean, sure, you are in the space, but a new venture that's solely yours, right? How was that? How was that? Like, I'm learning fatherhood. I'm learning to be a strictly a business owner on my own. How was that transition for you?
So I still don't know. I can't say I necessarily handled it the best, but the way my dad and actually my mom, I got to give a lot of props to, but the way my dad and my mom raised me, and I think it's kind of the way I am, and I'm grateful for it. It's like, just get the job done. Like, it's, well, I'm tired, or she's crying and I got to go do this. And it's like, okay, cool. Get the job done.
Yeah.
So it definitely was crazy. Tried to juggle everything at first. I don't think I did the most amazing job, but I also don't think I did the worst job. I mean, part of what I've always tried to do is just at least be there.
Exactly.
I think so many times we get caught up in, oh, well, I didn't take on a hike, or I didn't, build this, or I didn't do this, and, with work. But I think part of it is just trying to be there and like be with them, even if it's not maybe as exciting as probably the things you see on the movies all the time or in the Hallmark specials. But it was just trying to be there for her and try to get energy here and there. But it was tiring. It took me, 5-6 years. I still haven't learned balance, but I'm starting to figure it out a little bit more.
Well, and then that's you. I think you said something very important. Be there. That's it. I mean, the first the first 4 years of their life is honestly such a precious time. They're excuse me, they're growing, they're experimenting, like my eyes can open this way. If I cry this way, they'll come. If I cry that way. And there's not much communication. It's just kind of this physical, emotional, spiritual connection you have with your kid to know, okay, I know this soothes them. I know this helps them. I know this cry means I'm hungry. I know this cry needs to be changed. I know this cry means I'm tired or whatever the case is. And so with that being said, you kind of, you don't, there's no plan book or anything to tell you this is what this cackle cry means X. This means they're sick. No, it's like I got to be so in tune with my baby. And as a toddler, because people think, oh, I can't wait till they walk. No,
that's when it's work. That's when it gets harder.
Yeah, like my sister, she's like, oh, she's gonna walk. She's gonna walk fast. I'm like, no. First time, but for our first kid, we're so go ahead, rock. Yes, he's gonna be walking him. Second kid, I was like, boop, whoopsie, like, no, you don't need to walk just yet.
Mine was talking. It was like, oh, okay, I can't wait till she talks. I can't wait till she talks, and she hasn't stopped. She talks so much. I love her, but there's just times where I'm like, baby, can we just ride in silence? I'll turn off the radio and let's just ride in silence. We don't have to talk all the time. I mean, it's amazing, but it's still funny how you like push so much for certain things. It's like, I should have appreciated the time where she was just sitting there and crying.
Yeah. And that's something that I think you're navigating a new venture with Hollow Spirits, with a brand new baby and everything else. And you're like, I might not be 100% here, but when I'm here, I'm going to be 100%. And at least as much as I can. Because the same thing with me, I was kicking off my real estate career when I had Camden. And it was like in real estate, I was like, I got to appease everyone. Like if someone says, I need to see a house now, I'm like, if I don't show it now, then I'm going to not have this client. That means I have no money for diapers, this and that. And then their mom was a stay-at-home mom. And so I was like, I'm just going to, like you said, like your dad said, just make it happen. Like no excuse. And I told myself, just make it happen. And she's like, well, I could go to work. No, you want to have this time and I would rather you raise them than like the daycare. And nothing against daycare, but that was just kind of where I saw where she wanted to be. She's like, I just want to raise my baby.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, whatever it takes, I got to make sure it happens. And it was tough because I will work, come home and I'm exhausted and the baby's exhausted. They're excited to see me. She's even more exhausted than all of us because she's watching this baby this whole time. And it was like, how do I find that balance of, okay, I need to be more present. I need to like take out what's going on in my mind with work, with this, that, and be more focused on our kids. And people think even when they're little, like when they don't talk back or don't talk to you, or they don't express things, that it's okay to be busy. Like it's not. Like just take a deep breath, focus, and go from there. And honestly, that really kind of helped me be a better business person because I was able to like prioritize where my mind should have been. Type of thing. Instead of like, I'm working with this client, but I'm thinking about that client. I'm working with this deal, but I'm thinking about that deal type of thing. And I realized with my son and then my second son with Max, I had to truly like kind of mellow out and like, all right, I'm home.
Yeah.
I will deal with work when the work stuff comes, but right now I'm home with you.
Yeah. Well, one fortunate thing, especially when like I own the place is, and we'll see if it was good or bad, but she was here a lot of the times too, like in her walker, walking around. We even have a picture with her being, again, maybe 5-6 months, and she was sitting on the plans that we had for the build out here and everything like that. So I was able, like, even when I was at work, like she was still around, which again has its benefits and its drawback because, there was times I was working, and then she's there, but I'm still, especially with my situation, and granted, I'm not, we'll see. But I want her to see how I work and how I do stuff also. I think for the way I father, and it's the way my parents, I'm teaching her how to survive. It's a hard world out
It
there.
really is. Yeah.
There's ups and downs, and it's not a sprint. It's a long, drawn out marathon where, you got to survive. One of my friends once told me, and it was a mom, she has two little girls herself. And she's like, I'm not trying to raise princesses. I'm trying to raise cockroaches. Like when I'm not here, they need to survive. And so
Yep.
having her around was kind of, I was okay with working and doing stuff because she was there and she was seeing me do that. And not everything. And I love her and we have great times and we cuddle and we watch movies and we do all that good stuff. But my concern wasn't always being the favorite, best dad. It's, I need you to survive without me. Like that's my main concern with her.
Well, and that's something, and we've talked about this in the past. As much as we tell our kids to do something, 99% of the time, they might do it. They might think about doing it, or they might, sure, whatever. But once we are establishing that example for them, they want to reenact who we are more so than what we say. So having her around here, seeing your work ethic and doing this and doing that, and probably seeing the times you were stressed and probably seeing the times where you're exuberant and everything else. And as much as younger, these kids are they're sponges. They're spongy. They're learning everything.
They see everything.
They see absolutely everything. And you're showing her the example of how to live. So now her, by seeing the example, and then when you put, okay, here's pen to paper, this is why you do this is why you do that. Now she's going to correlate that with, oh yeah, because you were doing this, or I remember when you had to go through that, or I remember when you made a switch with this type of thing. And that right there, as a parent, especially as a dad to a girl. And see, I have boys. I have two boys, and the boys
It's so different.
It's a huge.
I don't care what anybody says, but you walk into a preschool and you see 3-year-olds, girls and boys interact, you're like, oh, girls are like having conversations and they're people. And little boys are running their head into the wall and laughing and then doing it over and over again. It's like, what the hell is going on?
Well, and do we ever grow out of that?
No,
we don't.
I love it. A friend actually just messaged me when everybody goes through, I'm 42 now, so maybe having like a midlife crisis here pretty soon. But they're all like, well, when guys go through their midlife crisis, they buy a nice car, they date a young woman. When a woman goes through her midlife crisis, she gets a PhD or she opens up a coffee shop. And I'm like, yeah, the guy sounds way better. That sounds like way more fun.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, I look at I remember one time we were at the Ice Totes game, and it was my two boys and another group of like boys. And it was probably like every other parent was like 20 girls.
Yeah.
And the girls were sitting there watching the game or on their little drawing pads or whatever. And the boys are swinging in the things and jumping from seat to seat. And they're just sitting there and they're like, this is how you guys live. I'm like, oh yeah, this is actually calm. This is a calm setting of them. And of course they're 3 and 5 and 7 and 2. And these kids are just, ooh, I could see something, I could jump or I could run, I could do this, do that. And I have a lot of friends who have tomboy girls.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, they play the sports, they get in the mud. And I sit there, I'm like, but still look how calm she is.
Yeah.
This is not
thinking.
Calm. Yeah.
Sorry, women think. I'm not gonna just say they're better, but women think. We do not think. That's actually what I think scares me most about a girl teenager. Right now, boys, they seem hard. They're just reckless and crazy. But then you have a teenage girl who she tries to outsmart you. And I don't know if I'm not the smartest person, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it's that's another thing. I know if I had a girl, I will be wrapped around her finger. Like I'll be tough, and then at the end, I'm like, God, why was I so mean? Yeah. Like the boys' mom are to them. She's tough and stern, but then if I like get too much, she's mama baby. Leave my baby boys alone. They're this, they're that. I'm like, hold on a second. We gotta establish not hierarchy. We gotta establish rule in the house. Like if I feel like there's something that needs to happen, sure, we could communicate and figure this out, but we need to draw a line so they don't cross it, because boys love to find that line, cross, jump, do backflips, do everything else on it. And it's when it comes to raising a girl and raising her to survive, you're not just showing her, and we talked about this last week with Joseph, you're not just showing her, okay, this is how you survive in the work business, this is how you survive here with school, how you deal with different situations. You're teaching her how a man should treat her when she gets of age.
Yeah.
to date and to hopefully find that one person. Hopefully it's like 30, like 25, 30.
137.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
one of those two.
Yeah, around there.
Give or
Around,
take
yeah,
a
around there.
decade.
Yeah.
No, well, what you actually said, the older I get, the more that I completely believe it and I love it. But like the yin and yang. So her mom is very emotional, very passionate, and it's great. I'm not the most emotional. Like, don't get me wrong, I have emotions, but I like process my emotions in a logical way. Like, if I'm feeling sad, I know I'll feel sad. I'll tell you why I'm feeling sad, but it's very A plus B equals C kind of thing. Where, them, it's A plus B plus Z plus the square root of how this color of the sky plus how I'm feeling that day equal. And so it's different. But people are like, does that ever frustrate you? Because we have completely different parenting styles with my daughter. But I'm like, no, it's great. Like, I really believe you need both sides and differences to truly make a child who they are. So the fact that I am the way that I am, and I'm definitely more strict with her. Try to be loving, and I'm a loving guy, like I said, but I'm definitely more strict, but we both kind of let each other, like, I'm the disciplinarian. I'm firmly believe like I will be that person, but I also want her mom to take her to the side and be like, it's okay, baby, and this. And then I will also talk to her afterwards and hold her and like, this is why I did this. This is why I said this.
Exactly.
But it's not just me trying to be mean. Like, there's reasons for this, but I also want her to feel that complete unconditional love also from both sides.
Well, and then you're 100% right, and that's the same thing with Ruby and I with our raising style. She is very, we're men. Most men, we want to fix it.
Yeah,
we're like, how do we fix it? And I even teach my boys, like, don't throw dirt on it. Okay, you got a scratch, it's hurting. What's your next step to fix it? And I stopped myself because I used to just like, okay, let's find a Band-Aid, let's just get it all wrapped up and go from there. And I felt like I was not allowing them to process the pain.
Yeah.
Because the pain's going to happen regardless. It's just, to me, in my opinion, it's like, how do you get better faster? Like, that's a man. We're like, point A to point B equals this, right? Women are like, well, she said hi to me weird, so my day got thrown off, and then my mom called, and this, that, and we're just like, what does it have to do with anything? But and then it's the other thing, and you might have to see this more so, and I see it with Camden, our oldest, because he's more on the sensitive side. Actually, they kind of both are, and I'll give an example about it. There's times where they just want to be heard and not us fixing it.
Yeah.
And I think that's something with women. And if you're out there in a relationship or looking to date, if your partner or your daughter is coming to you with a complaint, probably 70% of the time, they don't want you to fix it. They just want you to hear, hold, kind of, okay, this is where we're at. And then when you feel like the moment is like, all right, okay, so how can we get better through this?
Yeah.
They don't want you to fix it right off the bat, because we already know as soon as we say, oh, well, this happened, that happened, we already got 5 resolutions in our head, because that's how we are. But at the end of the day, when it comes to like having a daughter and having a mom, a partner, and a mom for the daughter that has that empathetic and just kind of, let me look at it on this side. But that's still not saying that dads can't have that too.
Well, I think they're both so important though. Like, that's the thing. Like, I'm still for example, Penelope had a soccer game the other day, and a girl kicked that. She kicked her. Like, it wasn't one of those things where Penelope fell and she was just like being dramatic. Like, you heard it, and I was like, oh shoot, she got kicked. And so she was crying, and she went to the sideline, and from the other side I was like, get up, walk it off, get back in the game. And of course, some of the parents looked at me, and Penelope was crying, and I knew she wasn't like hurt. She was hurt, but then her mom was like, "Well, you can't do that." I was like, "No, get up, get back." But then the mom went, and she did. So I think it's both of it, because sometimes, especially nowadays, and maybe it's just, well, no, not just me, because I did go through a point where I was really trying to actively listen to people and be that crying heart for them, and it was crazy what I noticed. In business, trying to be that sensitive, listen to everybody, they just cried more.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, well, I listened to this problem, but you have another problem the next day, and you have another problem the next day, and you have another problem the next day. And it was like, and there's sometimes take that day to be sad and listen,
Exactly.
but then there also needs that voice in the back where it's like, okay, I cried. I need to get up and I need to do this. And that's where I think, the dad needs to, and it doesn't have to be dad or mom, but I think there needs to be somebody, get up, get off your ass, get the job done. But then that's too hard also. So you need the person to be like, no, I want to hear are you okay?
Yeah.
Like this and that. And I think that's the balance. You don't want to be too on one side of the spectrum or on the other side of the spectrum, but I think you get it from two different people, and that's how it comes together and, makes that balance. Cause I'm still that guy where it's like, get up, do it, put dirt on it. And it's funny because my mom was actually more like that with me than my dad was. She was the one where it's like, you're not hurt, get up.
Yeah.
And then it would be my grandma and my aunt like, oh, mijito, are you okay? And how you mean? So
looking at mom like, haha.
But you do need, I firmly believe you're right, both of them so bad, because you do need to recognize your emotions. You do need to understand why you feel a certain way, or sometimes even to have somebody to cry to. Sometimes it's great just to have somebody feel bad for you for 2 seconds.
Well, yeah, and that's you said the last thing, for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I have a friend that he will call me, and it got to the point where I'm like helping him out, and I said, dude, shit, get off the pot, man. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you're coming with the same issue, and I get you have the anxiety about this, about that, about that. I was like, but I'm gonna tell you what I tell my kids. What is a solution?
No.
There has to be a solution, because if not, you're going to be in this ever-ending cycle, and then anything else that happens is going to trigger you, because your mindset's in a place where you're stuck, and you don't. Again, we're not just raising 8-year-olds and 11-year-olds and toddlers and teenagers. We're raising humans to, like you said, survive this planet and hopefully thrive while we're here, and they can survive and then pass on while we're not, type of thing. And that cycle of them staying stuck in the emotions of something that didn't happen right, or a friend got in an argument, or someone said something mean to you, or in sports, like my oldest won the championship game for his basketball tournament last weekend. The youngest lost in the championship game. So he was real sad and real kind of beat up. And then he was like, well, my brother won, so I guess I'm happy. I was like, it's okay to feel that you're sad, but now you use that and fuel you to when you get back on, if it's a soccer field, basketball, like I don't want to feel this again.
Yeah.
And sure, you
try harder.
Yeah. You're going to have to just, I now know what I didn't do enough to make us get over the hump, type of thing. And then we found out, which is crazy for YMCA basketball, that the team that they lost to had 2 kids that weren't playing on the team that were 11 years old. And these are 8-year-olds.
It's the amount of it's so stupid watching sports now with kids, because no offense to most of us in New Mexico, there might be one person who goes pro, and even that's the outside of Brian Urlacher, we have 1 or 2 other people in the history of New Mexico, and these people act like this is the championship, like their kid is going to be the next thing. Or I would never, somebody asked me to be a referee, I was like, no, because I will grab a parent. Like some of these parents and some of these referees are 11, 12 years old refereeing, and you have grown adults yelling at them. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, you know, especially in the soccer field, right? Our kiddos, they play AYSO, but then they play in the club tournaments, and they won a couple last year, which was awesome. But they a couple of the tournaments, but yeah, you're seeing these kids out here, and they're pretty much U13, U14 players that are like, oh, I'll make whatever, $25-$50 a game to ref, and that's a lot of money for these kids. And you hear these parents, and I'm coaching, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, and then and it's not just like, I'm not picking on the other team's parents, I'm talking about our parents. And so there was one time where the ref came to our side. We were playing a team, a rush team from El Paso. And actually, funny, long story short, our small world, small Albuquerque, small Southwest, what's his name? Palpoa Beard Balm. He's a barber down in El Paso. He used to come up and had a little stand for the beard and mustache competition. Barber Knock. He had the purple. he dyed his beard purple one time, had the big mustache, big beard, big Hispanic guy.
I feel like I remember
If
it.
I show you a picture, you're like, oh yeah, I remember that guy. They had like their beard balm.
Sorry, I
stuff
drink
like
for a living, so my memory isn't the
it's all good. I drink to live. I don't know. So it's but anyway, so his sons were playing on that team. So I was like, oh hey, so we're just chit chatting like, oh my gosh, like small world, blah blah blah. And it was getting too bad. It was getting so bad that the parents were going after each other and they were going after the ref. And one of the refs was a teenager, so they came over. And so I went to my parents' side, like, guys, this is a club tournament. This is a competitive tournament, but these are kids.
Yeah.
These are still kids.
Yeah.
Like, we have to realize that the example you're showing your kids and acting out this way is not an example that you are wanting to instill in your kids, because then your kids are thinking, oh, if my parents are okay to lash out, then I'm okay to lash out. If my parents, it says it's okay for doing this and doing that, then it's okay for me to do this and do that because that's my parents are doing that.
Yep.
And that right there, it got so bad that one of the kids slide tackled one of our kids, and his older brother, a dad from the other kid, they like stormed the field. And they said they were going to check the kid, but it was a posture that it wasn't. And I'm sitting there like, these are 10-year-old kids, guys.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're a grown ass man. Sit down. I said, dude, sit down or go to your van. Like, just leave, because we don't need that here. We are a club team. These guys are a club team. They came up all the way from El Paso. They're not here. And sure, we all know sports. People get malicious. People will do things. That's why you have referees. And a referee called the foul, gave him a yellow card. Like, it wasn't like he's like, oh, I didn't see it type of thing. So it was already done properly on the field, but then these parents jump on it. I'm like, you guys are making it worse for these kids. So there's that healthy balance of, like you were saying, of empathy, but resolution. Yeah. You have to have a resolution, and you could listen to the feelings, and sometimes they just want to be heard, hear the feelings heard. But then there's sometimes that lesson gets thrown back in our face.
Yeah, so much.
And for example, our youngest Max, so he's a cutie, man. Both of them are good looking boys. They're mixed race kids, got freckles. I mean, look at you. You're a handsome dude, freckles and everything.
Yeah, it was a blessing. Thank you, black dad and Hispanic mom.
Yeah. So, and my dad was Mexican, my mom was black. So, and she's like, I wish she had, because she has green eyes. Like, I wish they had light eyes. Like, no. You can't ask for everything. Like, come on, that's not fair. You see the light-skinned brothers, light eyes. I'm like, get out of here.
Yeah,
like, get out.
Well, my daughter has She has the olive skin, the curly hair, and the curly wavy hair, and then she has really light eyes, and they change between green and blue.
Oh wow,
that is one thing I will say on your podcast.
Yep.
Everybody who stop saying, "Oh, you're gonna have trouble with her. She's 7."
Yeah,
stop saying you're gonna have trouble with her. It's like, Why are you sexualizing my 7-year-old daughter? Like, stop that. Yeah. But that's my little thing where it's like,
and that's a good thing, because, like, sure, I look at my boys and they're handsome, like, and I was like, oh, they're going to be trouble. I'm like, no, I'm going to raise them to be respectful to women. Like,
yeah. And hopefully I raise my daughter right enough where she's smart about situations. That's the goal. So
if not, then we'll what is it? Bad boys it. And
I'm down.
Date on the door and sitting there, like, yeah, we'll rough them up.
That's the only reason I lift right now.
Yeah. Just keep that back strong. Don't worry again. Seriously though. But so he has these little one of our friends, his daughter, she's like 5 or 6, and has a little crush on Max, and it's 6 and 8-year-old crushes. There's nothing. It's fun. It's cute. It's whatever. And one day we were all after the Lobo game. We went to where was it at? Horse and Angel. And then he goes in the bathroom and he's like, and then my friend Drew's in there changing his daughter, and his baby daughter. And he's like, what are you doing? He's like, I just need a break. She's too much. You need a break. And so then we get home and we're teasing him and stuff like that. And he was like, Dad, I don't like that. And he was getting really upset. I was like, oh, sorry. We're like, oh, it's cute. Like, you guys are good friends. It's cute. It's like, stop it. She's just my friend. So he's getting really upset. And then I was like, Max, I'm sorry. He's like, I don't accept your apology.
Oh, wow.
And as a dad, I'm like, what do you mean? I'm the dad. You need to accept my apology right now. But I sat there and was like, hold on a second. He's going through this process. So I was like, let me see how this plays out. And so he didn't accept my apology. He was still a little upset. And I was like, all right, I'll let him. And I, of course, like, hey, Max, would you like this? And he was like, sure. Like, kind of short, kind of this. I was like, he's still going through it, but I want to see if he stays in this. If he stays in this, we have an issue. If he doesn't, then we don't. So then next day we go to school, drop him off. He's still kind of saying, pick him up. How was school? He was like, it was all right. And I was like, all right, you want to talk about it? He's like, no, I mean, I accept your apology, kind of, but not really. And I was like, what does that mean? So then I'm trying to like, all right, do I get defensive now? Do I do this? So then I'm like, all right, so I get home and I find out the reason why he was so worked up was he hangs out, and I always teach my boys, you could be friends with everyone. If they do you wrong or do anyone else wrong, especially your friends, then they're not your friends.
Yeah.
Like you could work through it. Maybe they could apologize, whatever, but you don't have to be friends with everyone, but you could be friendly to everyone type of thing. And there was a group of boys in his class that was always teasing the girls, but he plays with everyone. And he's like, stop. And they roasting. That's the whole thing now. Like I grew up in Maryland. We used to say, oh, you joning on them. That was our thing. But now these kids are like, oh, you're roasting them. Like they're roasting the girls so bad. So I started roasting them back. And the girls were happy that I was protecting them, roasting them. So then they said, oh, you and your little girlfriend. So then in his mind, he was already frustrated about that. And then I'm like, ooh, you guys. Then I'm poking him there.
Yep.
And then so he's telling me this stuff. And I'm like listening to him. And then he's like, okay, Dad, now I really accept your apology. And I sat there and he had to get through it. He had to get through it. Be upset and tell me, don't accept your apology right now because I'm still going through this. But then he finally got out of it. And you're saying the most important thing is we got to teach our kids to, sure, it's okay to fail, but you have to find a way out of it.
Yeah. Well, and process, like he's more emotionally processed than I am, especially 8 years old,
he's say? 8. Yeah, he's 8.
That's impressive, actually. Well, to connect one with the other at 8 years old, I'd have probably been mad at that situation, but I would have never connected it that, oh, well, this is the same situation as this, and then it's doubled on top, and then how that made me feel. So I think that's really impressive.
And I'm not saying that's it's again both mom teaching them, hey, it's okay to fail, and I'm like backing her, like, yeah, it's okay to fail, and then what I say, you need toughen through it, and she's not really backing me on that, but it's like, you know how that goes. But I was very, very proud of him. I said, Max, I'm glad, I'm very thankful you're accepting my apology, and I know where not to go now. Like, I'm not going to tease you on that, blah, 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 knowing that clearly was an issue with you in class. And now, of course, now you're coming home, and then now you're getting teased, and they're just buddies. They're buddies. Him and his little friend, they're just buddies. But, and it's because, I mean, it's on him. Every time I'm like, hey, we're going to go to Drew's house, he gets in the bathroom, his curls, he starts putting curl stuff in there, conditioner. I'm like, what are you doing with your hair? It's like, don't worry about it. I'm just doing my hair. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. Well, why though? You never care about your look.
Exactly. So it's innocent, cute little fun with those guys. But he got to the point where he was like, hold on a second. I don't like that because I'm already going through this. And I was happy he was able to kind of push through, process, and then get through it. But, so speaking of fatherhood and everything and juggling, so now you're 8 years in, just about 8 years in.
Yeah. Actually 2 weeks. I got
2 weeks away. Yeah. About 8 years in, with both hands, in a sense. How's that going? How do you feel the balance? Have you felt like you caught a groove? I know you've had a drastic like business model shift, but have you felt like you found a groove? Because I mean, again, we don't hang out as much or hang out really, but I see the social media. You're always traveling. You guys going to your Niners games and doing stuff, and you seem like you guys are always so connected to each other. Did you feel like you found a good work-life balance being a owner of a company?
Yeah. So the answer to that is no, not yet. But I feel like I am headed in that direction. Again, when I was younger, and the way that I was raised was just do a job and get the job done. Now, maybe now that I'm turning 40, it's like everybody's so caught on their career, and I need to do this, and I need to be amazing, and I want to own my own business. I want to take over the world, and it's still important to me. I want to try, but also the older that I get, it's like, okay, does that matter? Like it matters a little bit for my own personal. I want to strive for that, but when it really comes down to it, like you always hear those million and billionaires talking, and they're like, well, what did you wish you would have done more? It's like, well, I hung out with my family.
Exactly.
Taking a walk, things like that. And so one of the reasons that I changed Hollow Spirits, like we used to be open 7 days a week, full blown restaurant, everything. And we just recently turned into an event space. And a big reason to do that, for one, I've been in the industry 20 years, and just the day to day was killing me. Even when I take days off, I was always stressed as somebody calling in as this. So even when I was with Penelope and doing things, like, even if nothing was going wrong, I was worried that something was going wrong.
Fair.
Now the great thing about doing events is whenever we don't have an event that day, even if I'm doing an email or something, like, it's done, and then I could, like, actually be in the moment and concentrate more with Penelope. So I'm personally learning that a little bit more. And actually, to tell you the truth, Penelope, for as much as I talk about how much I want to teach her and I want to be this guy, like, she has taught me so much. For one, just to slow down. For two, like, why are you so frustrated? Like, then you see her play, and even when she does get sad or she does get mad at situations, in 20 minutes, she's living a whole new life. And it's like, oh, well, that stuff that happened didn't matter anymore. So now with the whole change in doing events, and then Penelope also loves parties, it's definitely changing in that situation where I have a quality of life that, for one, I enjoy. And I think that's probably the biggest thing. I'm learning how to take care of myself a little bit better, which helps me take care of her better also.
Exactly. So, well, you hit a lot of great points. Let's listen to our kids. Let's see the simplicity of life through our kids. It's a joke, like, men are so simple. We're so simple. Like, women should take notes from men because we're so simple. Like, no, we should take notes from kids because they're more resilient. They bounce back. They do this. They realize, okay, this is not ideal. Maybe I'll just switch to this. But we're so focused on, like, oh, well, this is not great, so the day's not great. Or I got this bad phone call, so my day's ruined, type of thing. And kids are a little more mindful in a lot of different ways than we are, and we have to listen and learn from them on that aspect. The other aspect is, like you said, most people's regrets are not spending enough time with their family, not mending that relationship that was broken by a small little thing, whatever the case was. We have to spend time with our kids because the time is fleeting. Like, 8 years. Think about 8 years. You've been a parent for 8 years, and I've been a parent for 8 on one and 11 on the other, and it still shocked me. Like, how was I a parent? Like,
when you see old pictures, like, oh my God, that was like 3 weeks ago in my mind. She was only in diapers the last month. Like, how was she 8 and talking about boys or whatever she's doing now? It's crazy.
Yeah, skibidi toilet. I don't get what do these kids think? They don't even know. They half of them can't even spell cool. Yeah. These kids don't know what they're talking about. But what you're saying is very important. You have to find balance, and we won't never have that perfect balance.
No.
But if it's up here, then that's half the battle. If we could find a clarity in our mind to be like, I'm present. Like, do you want me to help you with this or do that or this? Is not like, I don't have all this stuff going into my head. And it seems like with your business switch. So if you guys need an event space in Albuquerque, weddings, whatever, right? And you got a full kitchen, you got a bar, you got all kinds of stuff. Hit up Hollow Spirits.
Actually, I was going to talk to you because one thing that I did see is a lot of my friends, they're doing the father-daughter dance.
Yes.
My daughter's school doesn't have one of those. So I might need to throw my own father-daughter dance.
Okay.
And then during the football season, I had a little idea where it's like, hey, how about we give all the kids to the dad? We could throw on the football game. We could do events, but I want to do... Now I'm at a point, the one reason I take Penelope to the football games is I just want her to be around and experience things and do things with her. And I feel like there's a lot of dads who want to also do that. And so I'm going to try to figure out a couple ideas. Maybe we could figure out a couple ideas.
Yeah, let's do that.
And we don't have to involve liquor. Actually, probably shouldn't involve liquor, but we got a huge space here. And if we could do something where we just get a crap load of dads, a crap load of games or some kind of ideas to do, like, I think we could definitely do something like, I would love to do something like that.
I think that's a huge thing. Like, I run the Ravens fan club here in Albuquerque, or the West Wing, New Mexico. We used to be the Desert Flock, now West Wing, New Mexico. And my kids would go. Max, he was like, can you call mom? I'm bored. He called me halfway through. King called me, and then Camden was that way. Like, we'll go to the bookstore because we're at Spectators, excuse me. And then so then we found different ways to like entertain as much as possible. They had like little tablet games, they'll play it. But now Camden is to the point where he's watching every second of the game.
Yeah.
He's fired up. I mean, the one of the proudest like sports dad moments of my life to this point was when we played the Bills, and he eats his food. We already ate. It's already, Dad, can you order me some wings? I kind of want some wings. I'm like, you sure? You already ate? Like, whatever. Order him some wings. And I'm thinking like this. He's not a big eater. I'm like, what is he? He was wanting to. So we scored a touchdown. Lamar throws this beautiful pass. Likely scores a touchdown. Now we're 2 points away to tie the game. So he does that. Gets the buffalo wing. Starts chewing it. Pumps it on the top of a chair. Pumping up the whole bars, 100 Ravens fans, and he spikes the wing on the ground. So in his mind was like, I'm getting buffalo wings. So when we do something crazy, I'm going to eat the wing with spike on the ground. And he's fired up. Everyone's going nuts. People are like it was just the whole atmosphere. It was rocking.
Heck yeah.
And then Mark Andrews dropped the 2-point conversion.
Yep.
And I saw his demeanor, just like his spirit left his body, like all of ours. And I sat there and I was like, I just raised a sports boy, and
Lamar needs to get one, man. He does. Sorry, Lamar is way too good.
Yeah.
But well, actually, for you too, what I'm trying to do with Penelope. So the reason I'm a 49er fan is because my sister was a 49er fan. So there wasn't a point when I wasn't a 49er fan, and then my sister and me made Penelope a 49er fan. So even her, when we're walking down the street, look, there's a 49er fan, and she'll like say hi to 49er fans. But we're trying to go to one of the things where I need to set down time and like we're hanging out as a family and doing things. We're trying to go to a different game every year, an away game. So Baltimore is going to be one of the games we're going to have to go to whenever they play.
Yeah, that's so his father-in-law, or excuse me, father-in-law, his godfather is a Niners fan. He's from Santa Cruz. Big Niners fan. They live in Jersey. So we were like hoping we played each other, and hopefully it was a game in Baltimore, because they've been to away games, but they've been to an Orioles game in at Camden Yards, but they haven't been to a Ravens game in Baltimore. So if they played, then he would have drove down from Jersey. We'd have watched the Ravens Niners there if it was in Baltimore. But it's always, last couple times it's been in
San Fran. And it does change, like so far we've been to Pittsburgh, and then we went to Green Bay last year. If you're a football fan, you got to go to Green Bay. It's insane. Pittsburgh was cool as hell, but Green Bay is cool. But this year, because those are football towns, and so it wasn't really for Penelope, it was for me and my sister. But this upcoming year, they're playing in Tampa Bay, so we're gonna do the whole Disney World and and this is gonna be the first like, hey, Penelope, this is your trip.
This is your trip
with the football game. Usually it's like, this is a football thing, and then we're gonna try to find something for Penelope. But now this is gonna be one of those ones where it's gonna be around Disney World and all that. Hopefully she doesn't watch, because it's supposed to be a surprise.
Yes,
so
don't watch.
Don't watch. I don't think she'll. She watches makeup shows and stuff that kill her.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I mean that's something, what you're doing and what I've seen you as a father. And again, I knew you before you were a father, and you haven't changed. And that's a test to how you were raised. It seems like I met your mom. I was talking to your mom for a little bit before you showed up, and she's awesome. She's wonderful. And what you're wanting to do, incorporating not just your sports fandom, incorporating your business, your life, your everything, and saying, oh, that's just my daughter. No, she's a part of everything we do. And I think that's a very important thing about being a dad. No matter if you're you work for the city, you work for Petco, or you work as an engineer, or you're a military person, doctor, police officer, whatever. Involve your kids, and so in our lives are wrapped or revolved around our kids' lives and what they do. And guess what? That's okay.
Yeah,
that there's something beautiful about that. And the day that when she gets up and then she's taking the San Francisco 49er chance and she's leading it, that day you're like, all right, okay, this is the one. And the same thing with Camden. He talks a little too much trash. I mean, I have some fun trash talking, but he gets back and he talks. He goes to the school when the Ravens win. He talks his trash
all over.
All right, I was like, just make sure you're not making fun of anyone personally. Like, don't say you suck because your team sucks. Like, oh, we beat your team, blah blah blah. High five, you move on. But
nobody bigger than you too. That's a key thing when you make fun of people.
Yeah, exactly. but at the end of the day, running a successful, not just an award-winning successful business, being a wonderful father, showing her the example of this is how you live, example by what you've been doing, the example of this is what you've been teaching her on the empathetic side with mom and on your side, and then kind of bringing all that together is to me one of the most important, like just general golden rules of life when it comes to a parent. Love comes naturally, and it should. And if you feel like you need to work on it, work on it. But the teaching of this is who you should be, this is how you should model, and not by just saying, but by doing as well. That's the most important thing we could do as parents.
Yeah.
So, well, this was awesome. This was great. This was so much fun. We always end with a dad joke. I don't know if you got one.
I'm gonna have to remember it, but why do people hang out with the mushroom?
I don't know.
Because he's a fun guy.
That's a good one. Here's mine, and it kind of goes with the theme of the distillery. I walk into an Irish bar. I had to use the bathroom. And then I went to the bartender and said, "Hey, can I use the bathroom?" I'm like, "Okay, yeah. Is there a key to get in there?" It's like, "Yeah, here's one. The whiskey." And yeah, that was kind of lame, but I think I said it wrong.
I'm down.
But it was, yeah. Anyway, but thank you so very much. Again, anyone looking for event space in Albuquerque, if you have a wedding, a father-daughter dance, mother-son dance, whatever, you're looking for a great space. You got a beautiful view, got a balcony up there that overlooks the city, the railroad track.
Patio.
The patio's awesome down below, kitchen, of course, the best spirits in New Mexico, probably the Southwest. I'm going to say west of the Mississippi River.
Wait, I'm down. I think we could compete with. Everybody's usually really, really pleasantly surprised with how good our stuff.
It really is good. The whiskey is superb. So once again, thank you so very much. This is I'm pretty sure episode 6 of season 2. And we're going to keep rolling, keep moving. Thank you guys for all listening to How to Father. And this is our first video one, so hopefully the camera's still going. I think it is. But once again, thank you, Frank.
No, thank you. Let's do some.
All right, man. See you guys next time. Peace.
Perfect.
That was awesome.